Hi, this is RJ Williams with Think Tank Products. Today I'd like to talk to you about bringing people in. In the trade show environment, there are thousands of people walking by. All these people are different. Everyone wants to be viewed as different. You want to be viewed as different. You want to be viewed as an individual. You want people to notice you. On some level, everyone has this desire. People dress differently than who they really are to try to put something off, or maybe they're trying to accentuate something. For example, say you have an elderly lady that's walking by. Society in America views old as bad. So you would want to somehow let her know that you know that she's trying to put that off. So if she's trying to put off a young vibe, maybe unsuccessfully, which it is most of the time, maybe address her, "Hey young lady, how you doing?" Or, "Have you seen this before, young lady?" Something young lady. She knows that you know that she's old, but she thinks that you are getting that young vibe from her. Another example, say someone is born with a body that looks pretty tough. They have a really tough face. They look kind of badass. They're probably going to dress to accentuate that. So you see someone walking by, maybe they work out and they're really big and buff. Say something. "Hey, specially designed for you bodybuilders." Whatever it is, comment on whatever they're trying to put out. This is social intelligence, which we'll get into. Social intelligence is something that most of us have. If you don't have it, you can learn it. That's why we're doing this. There are different levels of social intelligence. When you see someone pass by, most of the time you can tell what they're trying to put off. Whatever vibe that is, whatever the idea in their mind is that they are presenting themselves as, is what you want to identify. Now, 90% of the time, people are horrible at this. The way people perceive them is not the way that they are trying to be perceived. Usually that's because of their energy. If you can pull it off, then you don't need to dress a certain way. That's your vibe. You will put that energy off to people. But that's why we have clothing, that's why we have styles, that's why we have, MTV, we have this popular society. People want to be something that they're not. Or if they are a little bit of that, they want to be recognized for it. So this is an easy way to pull people in, is by identifying something about them. You want to make sure that you make eye contact with every person that comes by. Your biggest tool to bring people in is humor, of course. So if you've got a quick wit and you see people walking by, you can make a comment about them, you can joke with them, one-liners all day. It doesn't have to be a disparaging comment to make them feel bad, but it can be. People like to be toyed with. They like to have a little banter. They like someone with a quick wit. If you make a comment to someone, that's probably the only comment they're going to get all day. And it's going to be memorable. They are going to remember that comment. So, make it funny. Make it good. Make it edgy. In all the years that I've been doing this, I've said a lot of edgy things. I can't recall ever getting kicked out of a show. I can't recall ever having someone come up to me and being really offended. I've had a couple old ladies that I called young ladies come up and say, "Well, I'm not a young lady. That's very rude." You know how many thousands of times I've used that line? Maybe once or twice throughout the year. Someone was having a bad day and they were offended by that. So if you please everyone, then you're not being edgy enough. Every once in a while, sure, someone's going to be rubbed the wrong way. But for the most part, and we go with statistics in this industry because we have so many people walking by, you have to do what's best for the majority. And the majority of people react to humor or something different. This is called a hook. You have to have something different, whether it's the way you dress, the way you address someone, the energy that you put off, what have you. You've got to have a hook. You've got to have something that differentiates you from the rest of the booths. And the easiest and the most cost-effective way to do that is with your energy, with what you say, not with your signage, not with your clothing, not with your $1 million booth setup. The best way to differentiate yourself is by using humor, or you can also use compliments. So if someone's coming by and you genuinely see something that you like, you could tell this lady's got a really nice purse and it's unique. You can say, oh, I really like your bag. Or if they have really cool shoes on, you can say, I like your shoes, and then bring them right in. Now, most people at the show, if you will notice, address a prospect when they are right in front of them. Wrong. Another thing is that most people say, hi, how are you? Wrong. Those two things are really bad mistakes. If you're not taught, then you don't know. These things are not obvious. So after thousands of hours of video analysis, we know that people are going to look at your booth a long time before you address them, for the most part. So what we want to do is we want to find that exact moment when they make eye contact with you in your booth, and we want to grab them right there. That is the time when they will come in most of the time. Now, there are some people that are completely not customers. They are not going to come to your booth no matter what you say. That's okay. We're going, once again, with statistics. What do most people do? So about 20 feet out, another booth down, when you look at a video, you will see people constantly looking at your booth from there. And you will see the people that are addressing people missing that opportunity. So if you can train yourself to have that peripheral vision, if you're addressing someone, what have you, be cognizant of the other people that are walking by with interest. Usually you get such tunnel vision that you won't notice other people that have interest in what you're saying. They want to jump in, but they also don't want to be rude and pry into a conversation that they weren't invited into. It's really easy to invite someone into a conversation or a presentation or a joke or whatever you're doing without talking to them. You can do it with your eyes. You can make eye contact with them and say, without saying anything, come on over, you're welcome, and join us. But you'll see so many people that have tunnel vision, and they get one person or one group and they just address them until they're totally done, and then they stop, the people leave, and then they pick another group. You don't want to do that. You want to have that peripheral vision. You want to address people with your eyes at the point when they are looking at you and making that decision. Do I want to be part of this booth? Do I want to be part of this situation, this person's energy? So you have to put all those things off a little bit earlier than you might think. Now, the second mistake is asking someone how they're doing. If you ask someone, hi, how are you? And they're walking by, now they're in front of your booth, they say, oh, I'm fine, how are you? And then you say, oh, I'm great, thanks for asking. By the time all that is transacted and everyone knows that they're fine, this is a completely empty exchange. Don't do it, because by the time you have done that and completed that process, they are already past you and their momentum is going that way. So if you can say something funny, different, what have you, even if it's not funny or different and it's just, have you seen this before? Or come on over, I'll show you how it works. If you say that, when their momentum is coming towards you, it's really easy to swing them in and have them stop in front of your booth. If you do it after they're past you, it's 100 times harder to make them stop in their tracks, put on the brakes, turn around, and come back to your booth. That's a serious commitment to them. If they stop and they come back, they feel that they're committed to you for your whole pitch, for your whole time, as long as you want to keep them there, they are at your mercy. If, on the other hand, you pull them in just as a side stop, they just kind of swing by. They're not committed. They're just pausing. They can continue to walk. And that's what you want. You want them to feel free. You don't want them to feel trapped. You don't want that high-pressure sales situation. So, 20 feet out, make sure you make that contact with them. Use your humor. Have a hook. Address each individual, not the crowd. This is key. If you're a new salesperson and you're not quite confident with yourself, you're not quite confident with a new product, what have you, you will have a tendency, because of this fear of rejection that we all have, to address a crowd. It's very low risk for us, because if we just call out to a crowd, oh, brand new thing, whatever you're advertising, and you're just shooting out random statements to everyone, like if you go to a fair, you'll hear these barkers, and they just are calling out, come play the game, blah, blah, blah. They're not talking specifically to a person. If you talk specifically to a person, your chances are much better of getting them in, because they know that you know that they exist. You are recognizing that they exist, and you are personally interacting with them. If they don't interact back with you, then that's rude. Everyone knows that. If someone says hi to you and you don't say hi back, that's rude. So, if you can put yourself out on the limb, get over your fear of rejection, use statistics to your advantage, you know that probably 9 out of 10 people are going to pass. But if you can take that 1 out of 10 people that you addressed and they come in, you're going to be way ahead of the people out there that are just barking and they hardly get anybody to come in because people don't feel any connection. So make sure that you make eye contact with every single eye that walks by, as long as they're qualified. If you have a product that has a specific demographic that it appeals to, then make sure that you don't waste your time pitching. If you have for me, I have a kitchen gadget that I'm pitching right now, the EuroWhip. It's not really a child thing. It's not really a young adult thing. It's mostly for women, and it's mostly for women that are middle to elderly. So those are the people that I address. This is also social intelligence. You can tell if someone is qualified for your product by doing some video analysis. You want to do a few hours of video in a few different towns or whatever your market is. Make sure that you have a good representation so you don't have skewed statistics or biased statistics, and look at who's buying your product most of the time. And look at the people that you're wasting time pitching, and you're pulling your hair out at the end of the day. You say to yourself, man, I worked so hard and I talked to so many people and I threw down so many pitches only to have the same result as I always do. How can you become more efficient? By social intelligence. Pull in the people that are qualified, that you know have a higher chance of buying your product based on truth, based on statistics, based on fact. And those are things that you know because you have done it before. So trial and error. So this fear of rejection will go away once you see at the end of the day your numbers going up. Yeah, maybe 9 out of 10 people turned you down, but if you can land that 1 out of 10 consistently, you can plan how many sales you're going to do at a given show. So these have been a few tips on how to pull people in.